Welcome back, film fans. This is the Usual Skeptics. My name's Wes. This is Gabe, as always. So today we've got some fun stuff for you. We're going to do a recap and our thoughts on the House of the Dragon. We're super excited, man. Glad to be back. Gabe, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing all right, man. It's good to be back. We had a lot of shows coming out, had a lot going on. We had She-Hulk, Andor, Rings of Power, House of Dragon, had a lot of stuff out at once, and I'm still not caught up on Andor. I know that's horrible for me to say. She-Hulk was a complete disaster. Started off great, ended off on a low note, and you know what? That's whatever. Fell off, kind of tapped out of Rings of Power. Heard it got great later on, but I tell you what stayed great throughout the series, or at least the season, I should say, was House of the Dragon. My goodness, Wes, what are some of your general thoughts about the season? I mean, we'll go into more in
Oh, you're
detail,
okay.
but
So,
yeah, yeah. Tell me your thought because we haven't really
So
talked
here's
about
the
it
deal. I
much.
I might get condemned for this, and that's okay. But like, I'm gonna be quite honest. I didn't watch Game of Thrones
Yep,
whenever it first came out,
yep,
and the original, just because of the simple fact that like I didn't really have like HBO. There wasn't anything like HBO Max whenever it first came out. You know what I mean? So,
right.
I didn't really watch it, and I didn't get it. And then whenever we did, like I was like, it's just I can't really do it. And my wife watched it, and she's like, nah, it gets good, and I was just like, I don't have time. I've got too much other stuff to watch, right? So whenever this came out, my wife's like, "Will you please watch this with me?" And I'm like, "Okay." Well, if I don't know names and I don't know references, like I'm done. But I'll tell you, man, from that first episode on, you didn't really need to know. I mean,
No,
it's cool if you did know the game, but it's like you didn't have to know to watch this series. And man, it was awesome. It was great.
well,
I have a couple little pet peeves.
sorry, just real quick. You
Yeah,
didn't, so you still haven't watched Game of Thrones, like
nope,
the other series.
nope.
Not a single episode.
One
One. Which episode? Just mind me
first
asking. You just watched
first
the
episode.
very first episode
Yeah.
with
Boy gets pushed out the window.
Okay, okay,
I was
okay.
like, "Yeah, I'm
I,
done."
I got a few questions later, but you go ahead. Go ahead.
You're
Sorry,
fine, you're
sorry.
fine.
I
No,
just
you're
had to
good.
know. I had to know.
No, so, yeah, like I said, I might get condemned for that, but it is what it is. So, just to kinda go through it, man, like, there was a couple pet peeves that I had, um, throughout the series, and I do understand. I know why it happened and had to, but, man, wasn't ex I mean, if this is what Game of Thrones was, then I'm gonna have to watch it now. So, but I think they did an amazing job with their roles and all that. But my general thought on the whole thing is like it's excellent. I cannot wait for next season. Um, I was very upset at the at the cliffhanger at the end. I was like, no, no, no.
Oh,
There has
oh,
to
by the
be
way,
there
but
has to
yeah,
be more like 4 or 5 more episodes right now.
yeah,
So
full spoilers, by the way. I can't believe we didn't start with that, but if the title of this video did not make it any more abundantly
yes,
clear, let me
right,
go
yes.
ahead and tell you, we are going to talk spoilers. We're not really going to talk episode 1 through 10. We're kind of just going to be talking kind of basically our general thoughts about the whole thing. Completely forgot about that.
Hey,
So,
and I had no
um,
spoilers yet. I'm kind of
no,
proud of myself.
proud of yourself. Thank you. I didn't even think to say that. That's just how excited we are talking about this. Anyway, sorry. Wes, didn't mean to cut you off, buddy. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I'm
But
glad.
sorry. But no,
Um,
go ahead.
So, I mean, uh, I thought that it had the right amount of dragons. I think that it had the right amount of because whenever you think House of the Dragon, you're just like, well, how many dragon? Like, I don't. I mean, personally, I was like, I don't want to see dragons fighting every day. It was just so perfect the way they got them in, and you learned how they trained them. You learned how they did all this stuff, and then you got all these separate storylines that you get involved in, and there
Right.
wasn't one. There wasn't one that I was like, yeah, I don't really care about this. All of them I
Right.
was very, very interested in. I think that, that relationship right there, Rhaenyra and Allison, that whole thing from them growing up as kids to being adults and her becoming queen and her dad being involved in that in some way, Allison's dad being involved in like pushing her to do that. And then, you realize you think that Allison is a bitch, later on,
Right.
you think that she is, but then you realize by the end you're like, she's the only one that stayed by like Rhaenyra's father's side through the whole thing
Whole
and
thing.
did not waver.
Nope.
Did not waver. So to me, it's like holy crap. And then you got Clubfoot over here who's got feet fetishes and shit. That just, I mean, this is wild, bro.
It's
Like
it's
this is wild.
it's
Okay,
wild.
so um, kind of collecting my thoughts because it's just like we're so excited about this. This is
A
almost
lot
this is
happened.
this is so much like it's not close to the boys, but it's up there.
It's close.
It's up there.
Very close. Yeah.
But
It's
it's
definitely
so
second
good.
place to the
Yeah,
boys.
yeah, by far.
Definitely
But
runner up. Yeah.
definitely runner up. And it's just, you've got, like I said, the king. I felt so sorry for the king, man. I
So
felt
bad.
so bad. I thought they did. I thought Matt Smith, respect, bro. You are awesome. Then nextly, I want to talk about I can't remember his name, the kid who gets his eye taken out or
Oh,
whatever.
amen.
Eamon. Um, what an amazing hatred I have for him, but
Oh
it's good
yeah.
acting. It's good
It's
acting,
incredible.
and that it's good
Incredible.
acting. You know what I mean? If you can sit there just I hate to keep referencing
Just
the boys,
staring.
but but you sit there and you're just like, I just want to punch this dude right in his face.
Oh
Now,
yeah. Yeah.
my pet peeve, and then I'm going to get to your thoughts on the whole thing. Okay, my pet peeves, and we've talked about this, is the fact that they age these people, and I really got to like the younger Rhaenyra and the younger Alicent a lot.
Right.
I understand why they did it because they can't have that same actress be the mother of these two
26ers.
boys that look like they're her age.
Right.
So the other thing that I have a pet peeve is whenever they age the kid who had his eye taken out
Amen. Yeah.
because I think they aged him too much. They should have got somebody that was a little bit younger. Because he looks older than his older brother. That's the
Yeah.
king. He looks
Right.
way older, and it's like
Right.
he's supposed to be younger, and it's like, no,
He's
no,
supposed to be the
like,
baby.
yeah, I'm
He's supposed to
like,
be
but
one
you
of the
look like
babies.
you're like
Right.
40, and they
Yeah.
look 20.
Right.
So that was a big pet peeve of mine, and I get it because he's a strong character. At the
Yeah.
very end, you see he's a strong character, and you're like, okay, I get it, but I don't. You needed to just age him up to maybe an 18-year-old that looked a little bit big. You know what I'm saying? But that's my pet peeves on that, and that honestly is one of my only pet peeves that I really have on the thing
Yeah.
is how they aged them out of the age they were supposed to be, and it just didn't look, you know, like
My
he
brain
looks
was
like.
able to
Yeah.
adjust pretty quick. I mean, I see what you're saying because yeah, you're right that that kid's supposed to look, and appear younger and to me just get a good actor to me. But what you're saying is true. If you're going to age up these actors, they all either need to all be older, like that 20 to 23 age, but
Hmm.
no, they some of them did, but Amen.
But then you've got like Sir Christian, who didn't age through the whole thing.
Yeah,
I'm like, bitch, what?
let's give him a beard.
No. Give him a beard, give him
Right.
give him a little bit of gray like in his
And
hair or something. You know what I mean?
that
Like
was
like
it.
literally. Like come
Yeah.
on, man.
I mean,
And then
in things like that, my brain was able to just ignore. Like I get totally. Oh no, go ahead.
yeah, but I will say how they aged the king
Fantastic,
like blew my mind.
fantastic.
Amazing. That CGI at the very end, whenever he takes his mask off,
Yeah,
at the table
Phantom of
and
the Opera vibes.
oh dude,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you just see it, and then whenever he's laying in bed and he looks emaciated, and like I was like, you can tell it's CGI, but it's
It
very,
was very good.
very good
It was
CGI.
very good.
So that was amazing. But Gabe, I want to hear your thoughts now because you've heard mine. Because I'm like,
Yeah, we didn't really talk much. I mean, every week you and I either texted and was like, "Bro, did you see that episode?" It was like, "Bro,
yeah,
yeah, I did." So we didn't really, other than the Eamon thing, which we did talk about a little bit off screen, is or off camera, is yeah. Other than that, we didn't really talk about much. I tell you what, I have said this before. I think I've even told you this before. I like Matt Smith. I do. I think he's a fine actor. You
Doctor
know,
Who.
his Academy level performance in Morbius. You know, it's Morbin time. Um, is
What? I
it's
still
more.
haven't watched
Oh,
that.
oh,
It's
sorry.
garbage.
And well, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's Morbin time. His Academy level performance in Morbius. I'm kidding. I really am perplexed, and I guess I mean that in a good way, at how well. And the only people that I've seen do this well is Disney and Marvel Studios. They've been able to their casting, it has always been top notch casting. I have yet to have an issue. Yeah, we've had a couple bangers, or sorry, we've had a couple duds with like Terrence Howard, Ed Norton. That's fine. That's their own separate little stories. And I love Terrence Howard. I love Edward Norton. But every role they cast had like a main role has been phenomenal. Fantastic casting. Whether you liked or disliked the project, I think it's safe to say everyone genuinely loves everybody as a main character. I say all that to say this. Game of Thrones is the next set of people to do that very thing. Every person they cast, and I want to talk about casting first, and I'll get to other stuff in a second. The casting in the show has been top freaking notch. The way they were able to have me go from I like Matt Smith to I'm a legitimate fan of Matt Smith now. I loved his acting. That one was episode 3 where he didn't say a line of dialogue. My goodness. Now a lot of times I
Mhm.
ask myself, and that's just kind of my film brain kind of working the gears when I'm watching something. And if I see something, I'm like, don't know if that really worked for me, blah blah blah. I'm like, is that an actor or is that a script issue? Most of the time, it is a script issue. Most of the time. Yeah, I mean, maybe not most of the time. It, maybe 70-30, whatever. Either way, you change out Matt Smith's performance with another actor for that episode 2 or 3, whatever that episode that was. I think it was 3. I don't think a lot of I mean, I think a lot of actors will pull it off, but I don't think a lot could.
Mm-mm.
What Matt Smith was able to do by not communicating verbally, by communicating with his eyes, by reading that note or that letter from his brother, the King Viserys, and beating that man to death just for delivering it to him, just because he wanted to prove a point. The fact that he charged into battle without saying a word just to prove a point. My goodness. They were able to make this
But he
character
did it a couple of times.
several
He did that
times.
a couple of times.
Several.
What?
It's
Yeah. Whenever,
incredible.
whenever,
His
you know,
wife. His wife,
yes.
that was visceral to watch. Now,
Hmm.
apparently that happened in the books, and I didn't know about that till later. I kind of done some recap videos of how like what did the books what was adapted from the books, and I'm not like a book purist. I'm like, it has to be this. It's an adaptation. Get over it. If you didn't like House of Dragon because it didn't do something in your precious book, get over it. It's an adaptation. You didn't like it, you still have
Hey,
your book.
newsflash, not a lot of people read anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
But no, but
so
Matt Smith and but Matt, look at this. Look at Matt. Look at this. That scene where he, my God, that episode. That's my favorite episode, by the way, of the season. Was when Viserys was down to his last leg, and he was walking. He came walking down the aisle. Um, but before that, you had Rhaenyra. I know I'm bouncing around a little bit. I'll collect my thoughts here in a
it
second.
is what
But
it is.
but Rhaenyra went to her father, pleading, "Father, I need you to defend me. I need you to defend your children. or sorry, your grandchildren. I need you to defend House Targaryen in your name. I need you to defend us, your daughter, who you named heir. And if you want me to take it, then I'll take it. But I don't want it. But if you're gonna have me do it, protect me, help us, defend
Mhm.
us, do whatever you need to do. And then you get to the throne room. And then Otto's sitting there. He's like, I will make demands for the king, or however
Mm.
he said it. Riz Alfonso was awesome. And then you hear the knock. And then the skin swelling up, man. Like the goosebumps are there, hair standing up, man. Just thinking about it. The music starts swelling and it turns to King Viserys. No, I don't want Milk of the Poppy. I don't want it. Because he wanted to go in there with a clear mind because that, my daughter, is heir to the throne. I'm not letting y'all do. And this man just wants peace. What did they call him? Viserys the Peaceful? They
Mhm.
just wanted him, or he just wanted his family to have peace, to be able to thrive with one another, to commute with one another and not slice each other's throats. My God, that was a thrilling
And to
moment.
see Matt
Incredible.
Smith, like, what got me is, like, after that, whenever he is laying in bed, like, that's another one of Matt Smith's great performances is, like,
Yeah.
you can see the hurt that he feels for his
He
brother
started to feel
that
it.
bad.
He
He was
loves
just
his
like
brother.
he loves him.
They
You
they
know
they
what I
love
mean?
each
And
other.
you're just
They
like, "Okay."
Yeah. But Viserys
And
knows
him
exactly,
catching the crown whenever you know what I mean?
dude, and how that was completely unscripted. How
Mhm.
Matt Smith just took the crown and just kind of went with it, kept the cameras rolling. To me, that just is, from a script point of view, like everything about the show has been, look, the actors serve the script. The actors serve the characters serve the story. I get that. But this came down to script. If this had a bad script or a bad showrunner or whatever, this show would not have worked. And there was a couple things I was worried about. I'm not gonna lie. I'll say it. I'll say it. I was worried about this show. I'm like, how in the now I was, and as I do with everything, I do go in everything, leaving the expectations at the door, judging everything by its own merits. But my God, I'm gonna tell you, I don't have any negatives about this season. By the way, none. Okay, maybe two, and It's different than yours, but I'll talk about that here in a second. But the fact that this show has been able to live up and be a worthy uh successor, I guess you could say, even though it's a prequel to Game of Thrones, and coming from someone who's seen it, you've only seen that one episode. You don't have to watch Game of Thrones to understand what's going on. I got someone right now who's watching it, and several episodes in, they're loving it. They don't need to know anything about King Joffrey, or I'm saying names you don't even know yet, but they don't have to know
I
all
know
that
him through
stuff.
memes.
Oh, okay. But you have to understand that they're not stupid. They wanted to make a show that was a prequel. Yes, that does take place in this universe. And you know what? There are Easter eggs. There are Easter eggs in episode 1 that, in case you haven't seen Game of Thrones, I'm not going to spoil that show, but if you've seen the series, even in the first episode, there's names, there's references, there's Easter eggs, there's locations where you're just like, I know that from this show. I know what this character is talking about. It could be in a line of dialogue where you're like, ooh, that's something that is important for the series. And you don't need to know exactly what's going on. The other thing I was worried about was the actors, how they were going to age up, like you kind of touched on already. And people still forget. I still see people on Twitter talking about it, that um people forget the older actors, the aged up actors, they were cast way before the younger versions were. They even said in one of the inside the episodes at the end, which those are amazing, by the way,
Mhm.
is one of those. I think it was the episode that Eamon got his eye cut. I think they said that was the first full episode they shot for the whole season. And it's something like that is what I'm talking about. Is like they had a plan, they executed it perfectly with a near perfect script, with excellent casting. With Emma Darcy, you had um oh gosh, Eve Best as Rhaenys. Patty Considine as King Viserys, Riz Ifans as Otto Hightower. You just have Olivia Cook. You just have a lot of these powerhouse talent coming in here, and is amazing. So if it's anything, I would do want to talk about this for a second. Patty Considine, this guy carried this freaking show.
Hmm.
Other than him, definitely Matt and Emma Darcy, who took the adult version of Rhaenyra. This man, what a fabulous written character. I mean, all the characters for sure, but this man, all he was wanting was peace. All he was wanting was people to be like, don't fight. Let's just love each other, And he was able to go in, and he was able to bring this for even the first episode, man. The birthing scene, and how
Hmm.
and juxtaposed to the end, the finale of the birthing scene, how visceral, how rough,
Which was rough.
horrible. It was
Right.
horrific. And there's just so much that happened in this season. There's so many great moments. Yeah, you had that one episode where it was a little too dark. I know they said, and that's one of my negatives, was it personally didn't bother me. Yeah, it was a little hard to see, but all they needed to do was just make it a little bit brighter. That was all they needed to do. They filmed that whole sequence during daylight. They just
Hmm.
shot it to be dark, and to me, the lighting was off. To me, it just didn't work. And that's fine. That's fine. To me personally, it didn't take from the episode. A lot of people were making fun of it, and you know what? It is what it is. And I think one of the producers were like, well, it was meant to be that way. And it's like, well, that's great. I don't like tomatoes, but if it's put tomatoes on my sandwich and say, oh, that's how it's supposed to taste like, I'll be like, I don't like it because I don't like tomatoes. So it's
Right.
kind of the same thing, right? So it doesn't matter what you meant to do. What matters is how it hits us individually, and it's all subjective, But other than that, man, I got nothing. This series is off for a fantastic start. I cannot wait for season two. Now, I will say,
Oh, dude, no, that last scene, dude.
I
Whenever,
was about
like,
to say that. Yep.
okay, go
That
ahead,
that
go
that
ahead,
the
though.
last episode, it was a great episode. To me, yeah, it was the biggest finale. Yeah, it wasn't the greatest, whatever, and that's fine. Not every episode was that episode with Viserys, coming in like he did in the throne room for Rhaenyra and his family, but what that episode was able to do was kind of wrap up kind of what's happening, but Rhaenyra still gives Alicent the benefit of the doubt. She still's like, nope. King Viserys, my father, wanted me to protect, wanted me to rule in unity and as one nation, under God, indivisible, whatever you want to call it. And then her son gets murdered on
Bro,
accident, on accident. But she
bro.
ain't gonna know that. She's not gonna understand that, what had happened. And that was 3 days later. She found out. By the way, they
But
had
it's
come
the
on to say,
yeah, but it's the great thing of like they ended that episode, and it's just like,
fabulous,
and it's
fabulous.
just like I want more. It's like it's like the boys, like you said, it's number two underneath the boys because guess what? The boys does the same thing. They make you want more every single time,
They satisfy
and
you for
that's
that hour, and then they give you
because
just enough to be like, oh, we're gonna leave you
because
with them. Yeah.
literally while I was watching it, I was just like, damn, I was like, this thing's only got like 5 more minutes. Like, how are they gonna like? Come on, they got to wrap this up, and they didn't. And I was like,
Mm.
oh no! Like
Now,
I was like,
now
I gotta wait this
sometimes,
long for
yeah,
another one. You know what
sometimes that could be bad. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes that could be bad, but with its numbers, with its success, with its critic rating, with its audience reception, with everything going for it, and hardly anything against it, I think they're going to move in production very quickly. I really do. And to me, yeah, this was the prequel to the prequel, right? Because we're doing the prequel to see the civil war between the Targaryens. And that's what I was
I
trying to tell my wife was, when me and hers watched all of Game of Thrones, and that's what I was trying to tell her is at the intro to Game of Thrones, and this is something you don't know, but they talk about very quickly in the early season or season one is the Targaryens were no more. They were unheard of then. There was only a couple left and no dragons. But what happened? There was a civil war. This is that civil war we're about to watch. because now Rhaenyra, I think, is out for blood. She
Oh,
she
dude,
threw
just
up
with that look,
that
in
look.
that, and the
Yes.
frame that comes in right to her
Yep.
face, and you're just like, oh, like my wife turned to me, she goes, "That bitch is about to kill some people," and I was like, "Yeah, I know, it's about to happen. I know."
I, I and you see Matt Smith and how and here's another thing that's funny. I was talking to someone today about this. Is one of the producers or one of the writers? I can't remember who it was. It was one of the people directly involved with the show, but they were like, "We don't understand why people love Damon so much. like you're not supposed to love Damon. Like he's written to be a douchebag. Like
Well,
you
it's
cannot like."
because Damon is a great actor.
Yeah, Matt Smith is a fabulous actor, but to me, that's what gives it that multi-dimensional level character. It's able to delve in, that multi-layerness of everything. I don't want a one-dimensional character.
Mhm,
Dude, this was such a fantastic show. Or season, excuse me, season I should say. It was just everything about it, the directing, the music, the reveals. Dude, Ray Nice popping up with the dragon just out of the dragon pit, murdering
mhm,
fools, had a split second because that's her kin. Allison's her well, yeah, right, Allison
mhm.
or the kids. Anyhow, it gets kind of mixed up, but there's a lot going on. That's her family. And yeah, that's her enemy, but I think she respected her as a mom and as her kin to be like, I'm not going to kill you, but I'm out. I'm getting out of here. You
Mhm.
can't be locked up in my room long enough. I'm out. And Eve Best was amazing this season. Yeah, the actor that played Corliss, the sea snake, he's awesome. I think we all knew he wasn't dead, so to see him back just at the very end, I thought was very cool. Um,
And for Rhaenyra to show her respect at the end,
oh yeah,
saying, "Hey,
yeah,
look, like, thank you for having my back." Like, you know,
right.
like I know that you feel like you should have been,
Because she
the
was,
heir.
and she would have if she was a male, she would have took the crown.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
that's why they call her the queen that never was, because the only reason she didn't get it is because her and Viserys, it went down to Viserys because he was male.
Mhm.
And to see Rhaenyra be the first queen, like legit queen of Westeros, well, she was crowned. She's not technically queen yet. She's got to overthrow um, Aegon, and that's another thing. And I'm not going to talk spoilers because you don't know. So I'm not going to give too much on this. But people that seen Game of Thrones, like even my wife was saying when we watched the episode, or that the episode when Viserys takes his last breath and he's talking to Alicent and he's kind of out of it, right? He's talking about
Mhm.
Aegon. That's not the one he's talking about.
Oh, I know. Well, I knew that already.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I knew that
Well,
already.
to
I knew that he
me,
wasn't talking about he was talking about the dream that Rhaenyra was asking him about,
yeah.
like, "Hey, how, like, do you
Right.
remember the dream? Can you tell me about the dream?" And then he never did because he was like, "Oh, he was all sick."
Right.
And
And
then later
Allison,
on,
yeah.
Alicent was in the room, and he thought that he was talking to
To
Rhaenyra
Rhaenyra.
and said,
Yep.
"The dreams are true, blah, 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 blah,
Right.
like, I want Aegon, or Aegon is gonna be, you know, the king that," you know what I'm
The
saying?
king that
Like,
was promised. Prince that was promised.
that's
Yeah.
yes,
That
that's who he was talking about,
right.
but we haven't even seen him yet. My
Right.
wife kind of explained it a little bit to me.
Oh,
She
okay.
didn't wanna spoil it for me either, but she was like, "He's not talking
Right.
about that one," and I was like, "I know that, like, he can't be talking about that," but I was like, "I know that he's talking about the dream," and she was like, "Yes, but
There's more
this
to
is
it. Yeah.
this is what he was talking about, like, basically,
Yes.
there's another prophecy or whatever," like, he's talking about the prophecy
Yeah.
of
And that
of
and those series of
that.
events take place in the other show, and people that have
Yes.
seen that show are literally screaming at their screen and is like, "You're not like it's like we're talking to Allison and we're like, that's not who he's talking about. He's not talking about your
Mhm.
idiot son. He's not talking about your rapist of a son."
Yeah.
Um and the poor kid didn't want it, man. Like, yeah, you hate him because of what he did to that girl. Absolutely. Like you want him to die, but at the same time you feel bad because his dad never told him he loved him. Viserys didn't tell him he loved him. And that's why he looked up at his mom that second to last episode and was like, just, do you love me? That's all I want you to tell me. Do you love me?
Mhm.
And to me, that it's just like, my God, like it because the whole time he's on screen after he raped that girl, and you're like, um, and like all things he done, you want this person to die, and you're like, what the crap is wrong with you? And then you get him in the carriage where he's talking
Mhm.
to his mom. Do you love me? And then you're just like, my God, like why do you do that? Like why do you
Yeah.
make me feel bad for you? Like don't do that. You're supposed to be a jerk. But that just goes to how great this show is written. It all comes down to script. Now I hate that we're gonna have a different showrunner next season, so I'm a little, but I'm very hopeful. I'm very optimistic that it's going to be great. So I can't wait, man. Wes, what are some of your final thoughts, man? I know we kind of jumped around a little bit, but there's not really anything to add. I mean, everything was great. Matt Smith
Mhm.
was great. The writing was great. The music was great. Everything about it I thought was awesome and definitely a worthy, definitely one of the best things on TV right now. Best one
Yeah.
of the best ongoing series right now. Not topping The Boys. I still think The Boys is the best thing on TV.
Mhm.
Um,
Agreed.
certainly, or She-Hulk. I think She-Hulk has took the number one
I'm
spot.
gonna I'm gonna
Um,
kill you. So,
but yeah,
my final
yeah.
thoughts and stuff, man. I can't wait till next year, or like whenever we get this new season. I think it's going to be amazing. I think we're seeing little bits, and I think we talked about it. I won't go into it just because I want to wait and see what happens. But I think that Damon is you can see just a little bit of him stepping on the toes of Rhaenyra, and kind of overstepping his bounds with her being in charge. He's like, "Well, no, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna do this," and she's like, "That's not how this works. If I'm queen, you're gonna listen to what I have to say." But basically, I'm very very excited, man. I think this is amazing. Such a great show, dude. I'm super stoked, and I can't wait to go watch Game of Thrones now. I've got way too much stuff to watch, but I'll get it done. So, but guys, thank you so much for watching. Gabe, let's hear what you've got to say, man.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is a fantastic show. I can't believe, and we would have done weekly, episodes on this, like we did The Boys and Obi-Wan and Miss Marvel. It was okay, and things like that. I wish we could have. We just unfortunately just did not have the time to get that done. But we will be sure to get out there and get some new content going for you guys. We're glad to be back. It's been a while. Thank you for indulging us and joining us on this journey. But the important thing is, what do you guys think about House of Dragon season one? What was your thoughts? As a fan of the original series, are you a fan of the original series? And do you think it was a worthy follow up to the show? Do you think it's a great prequel? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to drop a like, follow, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Wes, where can they find you, my friend?
You guys can find me at West Rathbone 86 on Twitter. And just let us know what you think. Like you said, man. And like, follow, subscribe. We love you guys. Thank you very, very much. This has been fun, man. I'm so stoked to be back. So like you said, we're gonna try to put out some more content every week now. Um, but like you said at the very beginning, man, family first. So basically, that's it for me. Gabe, where can they find you at, my friend?
All right, you can simply find me at Voice of Film right here. Again, we appreciate you guys, each and every one of y'all that have supported us on this journey, watching and all that kind of stuff. Again, I know we're behind, but we will make it up to you guys. We got a lot planned, got a lot coming out. Thank you so much. Be sure to check out our other videos in the playlist below. Thank you guys, each and every one of you. Thank you, and we'll see y'all in the next video.